Namaskar. Welcome to this third and the summary session of the 17th Adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita. We start with our gratitude towards the Lord, with whose grace everything is possible. We pray to this Guru Shishya Parampara through which this knowledge is preserved, transmitted so as to reach us. I pay my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share this understanding with you. We start with a prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So 17th Adhyaya, as you know, is called the Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. This essentially means becoming one with the divine, with understanding of the threefold types of the faith, Shraddha, the Traya Vibhaga of the Shraddha. And Bhagavan is trying to tell us that Shraddha or faith is the foundation of our life. Whatever we do is because of our faith in a particular system or particular method, and faith leads to all our belief systems, from which starts all the thought process and our decision making in life. Actually, faith determines all our actions in life, and essentially faith determines our life. The important actions that we do in day-to-day life are, ingesting food, which is important for our nutrition, doing karma or actions, which in Bhagwan, in Gita Ji is talking as yagna. Yagna is also a type of karma. Tapa karma, and dana karma. So these are the four types of karma that in 17th Adhyaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna is going to talk in detail about what are the three types of karma: the sattvic, rajasic, and the tamasic ahara, yagna, tapa, and sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, dana. And then finally in the summary, Bhagavan is going to talk about the three names of Brahma. Brahman is the eternal Nirgun Paramatma, Om, Tat, and Sat, which are the three names of the Brahma. And what is Sat, what is Asat is going to end this Adhyaya. So this 17th Adhyaya starts with the question of Arjuna. He says, Ye Shastra Vidim Utsrujya Yajante, one who works, does all his activities, actions in life, but devoid of the rituals. Either he doesn't know about the rituals or the scriptures, or he knows about the scriptures, but he does not follow the scriptures, but has a faith, Shraddhaya Anavitaha, but has faith in whatever he does, whatever roles and responsibilities he has in his life, whatever is his kartavya karma, whatever is his nishtha, whatever is his commitment, he does it with full dedication, full commitment, full faith. Oh Krishna, Tesham Nishtha Tu Ka Krishna. What is their dedication? What is their nishtha? What is their commitment? Is it sattva, rajas, or tamas? In a sense, Arjuna wants to know that one who does not follow the scriptures but still does work with a lot of faith, whether they are Daivi or this is called Asuri Sampatti. And the basis of this question are the last two shlokas of the previous Adhyaya, the 16th Adhyaya. In the 23rd, second last shloka, Bhagavan says, one who does not follow the scriptures, they do not make any progress, meaningful progress in life, they don't attain any goal in their life. And then in the final shloka, Bhagavan says, Tashmat Shastram Pramanam Te. Therefore, scriptures are the final evidence for whatever you should do, whatever you should not do, and you should follow, must know it and follow it with faith. Both things are essential. But Arjuna probably thinks about the third alternative. And the third alternative is one who does not know the scripture or does not follow the scripture, but have total faith in whatever they are doing. What is their nishtha? He wants to know what is their commitment. And majority of us, we belong to this kind of the third category, because we don't know the scriptures completely, but we still do a lot of our work, our roles, our responsibilities, whatever, with a lot of faith. And that's why we are all learning Bhagavad Gita here with the faith that it will help us in our life It will make our life better by understanding the worldview of the Lord Krishna. It will give us some better understanding of life, a different perspective of life, and that will help us to improve our life. And the faith that we have in our work, in our various professional work, may it be family work, social work, is based on our family traditions that we have seen since we have been growing up, the family values that we have learned, we have followed. And most of us are not lazy, we are committed to our actions, we do it with a lot of faith. So, what is the commitment? That is Arjuna's question, to which Bhagavan answers to him in the second shloka, saying that Trividha Bhavati Shraddha. Bhagavan says, you know, Arjuna, that there are three types of faith. And this is Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja. In humans who are the Dehdari, the people who have human body, those who are born with this body, this Shraddha is dependent on their Swabhava, the nature. And this Swabhava, this nature is based on our sanskaras, our impressions, not just this life, but even the previous life. What all we have done, whatever karmas we have done, whatever how we have had during those karmas, attitudes, those kind of samskaras are there in our mind, and based on this, our Shraddha is either Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic. Bhagavan is telling Arjun, you listen from me, I'm going to tell you this rahasya, this secret about all this. So as is our faith, as is our commitment. Arjuna asks the question, what is their commitment? Bhagavan does not say that this commitment is Sattvic or Rajasic. He says there are three types of faith, and based on your faith, your commitment depends on your faith. Where is your faith? If it is Sattvic faith, your commitment is also Sattvic. And then he goes on to answer and describe in details what is Sattvic, what is Rajasic, and what is Tamasic. And then Bhagavan in the third shloka describes how faith is so important in our life, in the human life. He says, Sattvanurupa Sarvasya. And this faith is determined, it is synonymous to our antakaran, our mind. Bhagavan says Sattva Anurupa. Sattva means antakaran, or our mind develops from the Sattva Guna of the Pancha Mahabhuta. During the creation, the Sukshma Pancha Mahabhuta, from the Sattvic Ansha, the antakaran develops. And that's why it is called the Sattva Guna, antakarana. And it is according to this, because in this mind, all these samskaras, they stay in this mind. And it's called the punja. There are so many samskaras of not just this janam, but even the previous janam. So our mind, our antakarana acts like a memory card. There is so much information on this, and based on this, we get the karma phala. Bhagavan says, Shraddha Maya Ayam Purushaha. These human beings are filled with lots of faith, emotion. They are all filled with that. And that's how we are governed. Yashat Shraddha Sa Evasa. Whatever is our faith becomes our persona, becomes our personality, and we act accordingly. That becomes our way of life. So as is the faith, as is the person, it is the foundation faith, and that's what Bhagavan is going to talk about in this adhyaya. In the fourth shloka, Bhagavan describes how faith is manifested in our life. How do somebody know that whether this person is Sattvic, he is Rajasic, or is Tamasic? Bhagavan says faith is a very sukshma, it's a very subtle thing, it's an emotion, it's a kind of a feeling, it's a belief system. But how it manifests in our life, we will know only where we are committed to, where we are devoted to. Bhagavan says, Yajante Sattvika Devan. Sattvika people, they worship the Devas because they don't have much akanksha's, ichhas, or kamanas, desires, and that's why they devote to the Devas. They are more selfless people. Whereas the Rajasic people, they devote to Yaksha Rakshansi, devote to the Yaksha and the Raksha. Rakshasa is the demons. So this is how they devote to, they commit to, they get inspired from the demons. How the demons has, for example, if we consider Ravana, how he did a lot of yagna to please the Lord, just for getting a lot of strength so that he could rule over the universe. And that is how he mustered so much of strength, and he went even against the Lord himself. And that is what people, if they are inspired from this kind of a strength, show of strength, and this kind of, then it is called a Rajasic Shraddha, Rajasic commitment, Rajasic, devotion. And Tamasa people, they are devoted to Preta and Bhuta Gana. Preta are the evil spirits, and the Bhuta are the ghosts. They are all the spirits. So essentially, Tamasic people have a lot of faith in all these superstitions, Andhashraddha. They will go to such people who will know such kind of a tantric vidyas or superstition, supernatural powers they have, and that is what their belief is. So this is how we would know what kind of personality one is having. And then in the fifth shloka, Bhagavan talks about, in the two shlokas, he talks about tapa and talks more about ghor tapa. Ghor tapa is a very intense kind of a penance. Tapa is kind of a, a self-control which is imposed with our own desire on us, and in some form we do some kind of a penance or austerity, like somebody may be doing some ekadashi, one fasting on a Monday or something, and this is a simple type of a tapa. Then somebody may take a niyama. Niyama is a kind of a rule that I will do this many mala or japa or this kind of that is also kind of a tapa. So these are the kind of tapa, and the main purpose of doing tapa is to have control over our own self, our indriya sanyama, and control of our senses. That is the main, because indriya is very chanchala. To quieten down this indriya, we do tapa, and that's why. But Bhagavan here tells us that those who are involved in performing these ghor tapa, harsh austerities, which are very cruel. There are people who do intense fasting for days and months together. There are people who do all different kinds of very, very ghor, intense tapa, austerities, which are not prescribed by the scriptures, which are ashastra vihitam, which are against the scriptures. And they do it for dambha, for hypocrisy. They want to show off that I have so much of self-control. Ahankara, they have a lot of pride that, oh, I have done this, I can do this. They want to boast to a lot of people that I can do this kind of ghor tapascharya. Kamaraga balanvita. They are inspired by a lot of desires because they want to have some supernatural powers or some attachment. They have raga. And so all these are the reasons which inspire them into doing this ghor tapa. And this ghor tapa, Bhagavan says, these people are achetasa. Achetasa, they are unaware, they don't think. They are aviveki people. Bhutagramam sharirastam karshayanta. They emaciate the body, their own body, by these intense penance austerities. Not only that, mama eva anta sharirastam. Bhagavan says, they also give a lot of pain to me, who is sitting inside the body of all the human beings. We know that our Shastras tell us Bhagavan is inside us, Antaryami. He created this universe. Upanishads say that then he entered all the human beings, all the beings, not just human beings, but all the beings is part of this as Antaryami. But he's there everywhere, but Visheshtar is there as Antaryami, and that's how, Bhagavan says they also, by doing this intense penance, they pain me, and know that these people are tanvidhi asura nishchaya. Know definitely that they are devilish, they are asura vritti. These people are doing tapa. Tapa is the sattvic karma, but they do it with intense desires, intensities, and that's why it makes it tamasic. And Bhagavan always wants the middle path to be followed. In Gita ji is always highlighted, praised the samatva mark, which is a balanced, middle path, which is not going towards the extremes of anything, and that is what Bhagavan Shri Krishna talks about. And then in the 7th shloka, he decides to tell us in more details about the 3 types of ahara, food, yagna, tapa, and dana, charity. These are all the simple types of, the different types of actions or karma that we do at one point of time in the Vedic times, but even today we do this kind of actions, and the meaning is a little different. Ahar remains the same. Yagna, we will come to it. Tapa, how the meaning has changed. So coming to the previous, Bhagavan says, Ahara tu api sarvasya trividha bhavati priyaha. There are 3 types of diet based on which the people who like them, there are 3 types of people based on that. Similarly for yagna, tapa, and dana, there are 3 types of people. 3 types of yagna, 3 types of tapa, 3 types of danam, and I'm going to tell you this Veda. Desham Veda mimam shuruhu. You listen to this, all these different types of Veda. Between these differences, I'm going to share with you, I'm going to tell you, Arjuna. So Bhagavan starts first with the ahara, and in the next 3 shlokas describe the sattvic, rajasic, and the tamasic type of ahara. Of course, it's not the sattvic ahara, but Bhagavan says ahara sattvika priyaha. Means that such food is dear to sattvic people. He doesn't say that this is a sattvic ahara, but he says this is the kind of food that is likable or enjoyed by the sattvic people. They make this kind of choices. One, which are ayuhu, which increases the lifespan. Obviously, only nutritious food can improve the lifespan. So this kind of food, it says Sattva Bala Arogya, which provides us with the Sattva, the intellect. Bala nourishes the body, and Arogya gives us good health. So this is the kind of food which is enjoyed by the Sattvic people. Sukha Priti Vivardhana. It increases the Sukha, happiness, and Priti, peace of mind. And this food is Rasya. It is tasty, non-sticky. It is Snigdha. It is lubricated well with oil, ghee, butter or anything, but in adequate proportion, not too much, not too less. It is Sthira. Sthira means it gives a good satiety after eating it. We don't feel hungry immediately. And Hridya. Hridya means it gives a lot of inner pleasure after eating it. We will like, it makes us happy. This is the kind of food which is Bhagwan says is Sattvic Ahara, or Ahara which is liked by the Sattvic people. In the next shloka, Bhagwan talks about the Rajasic Ahara. What is a Rajasic persons? What kind of food do they like? Ati Katu, very bitter. Ati Amla, very, very sour, very salty. Lavana means salt. Ushna means very hot by temperature. Tikshna is very hot by the way of chilies. It is very tikha. Ruksha is very dry. Vidahinaha means very spicy, which creates a lot of burning or acidity. Dukkha Shoka Amaya Pradaha, which produces pain because of some diseases, sorrow because of some indigestion or gas, bloating and other things, and disease creates diabetes, hypertension. So all these kind of food which are taken just for the test, but which does not do good to us, which harms us, are at extremes of the test, are the Rajasic Ahara, or the Rajasic persons like this kind of food. And the third Bhagwan says that such food is Bhojanam Tamasapriyam. This food is dear to the Tamasic people, which is Yatayamam, means it is improperly cooked, it is half cooked, half not cooked, which is Gatarasam, from which the taste has gone away, it is tasteless. Puti means it has awful smell, Durgandha. Paryushitam means it is stale, which has been kept overnight and it is not fresh. In those days there was no refrigerator. Obviously food had to be consumed within 3 to 4 hours. It could not have been kept for a longer period. Uchishtam api, as well as it was impure. It is Jutha means somebody else has tasted it, this kind of food. And Amedyam means those kind of food which cannot be offered to the Lord, like onions, garlics and the other things which cannot be offered as an offering to the Lord. So Bhagwan says these are all the tamasic food, and Rajasic and Tamasic food does definitely affect not just the body but even our mind. And this is very well known to people who are on this, who are seekers on this path, who want to get up early and do some kind of spiritual exercises like japa, tap, mala, dhyana, meditation, chintana, all this. And then whatever we eat on the previous day does affect our morning exercise or our routine schedule. So this definitely means that this kind of food does affect our mind also, not just our body. The next Bhagwan is going to talk about the yagna. Now in Vedic times, yagna obviously means, when we speak about yagna, what comes in our mind is a very big sacrifice, a havan kund, jisme obeisance or ahuti is given. A lot of chanting, mantra chanting is done, and this kind of ahutis are done, which are the obeisance, which are offerings to the Lord, which are taken by the fire to the lords, and then the lords give the kind of a phala, the results of these kind of yagna. But these actions in today's world are the actions, yagna karma. Essentially, it's a type of karma. In today's perspective, yagna is all those kinds of karma, all those kinds of action which are beneficial not just to me, but to other people at large, people in my surrounding, in my team, in my group, in my organization, in my country, and it gives happiness to the society at large. It is definitely a sattvic karma if it is carefully done, but if it is selfless, if it is done selflessly without the desire for the results, just as the Vedic karma was done, like doing it as my duty, as my dharma, that I should do it, this is what is prescribed in the scriptures. If that is the way it is done, it is definitely a sattvic karma. But if it is done carelessly, then becomes a rajasic or a tamasic karma. Bhagwan has already described the ghor tapa, which is also a type of a yagna karma, which is done with a sattvic intention. It is good, healthy. First, Bhagwan describes the sattvic yagna. So, sattvika yagna. This is known as sattvic yagna. Afala kangshipihi yaha ijyate. one who performs this yagna has no desire for the fruits or the results of action. Phala akanksha. There is no akanksha for phala. There is nothing, no afala kankshiki. Ijyate means it is performed. These yagna karmas are performed without any desires in our mind that I'm doing it just for the benefit of all, and having a faith, Ishwararpana Bhavana, having a faith in the Lord that whatever I'm doing it is by His ajna, by His command that I'm doing it for His pleasure to please the Lord. Ishwara prasannata ke liye hum kar rahe, and which is done vididrashta, which is performed with around according to the vidhi rituals which are described in the scriptures. Yashtavyam eva iti. Yashtavyam means I do it as my duty. It is my duty, I must do it. It is my kartavya. If it is done in that way, and which is done as manah samadhaya, which person finally decides in his mind that yes, this is something that I must do. This is good for me. This will be elevating for me. This will help me. This will help me progress in my life. And this is the way, if it is done, it is called a sattvic karma. Rajasic karma, Bhagavan says, Tama agnyam yagnam viddhi rajasam abhisandaya tu phalam, which is attached to the fruits. Is always done, some karma, some actions or activities are done, always keeping the fruits or the results in mind, that if I do this, I'll get this. And we also pray to the Lord, oh Lord, I'm praying you, I'm doing this mala japa for you. Please give me this again. I want put this tender, or please make sure that this gets passed, or some business promotions happen, or some, I get this kind of a promotion or an increment in my salary or something like that. Dambhartham apicha, which is done for dambha. Dambha is a showmanship, hypocrisy, something that is not there, but I expect some praise or some fame or some kind of, I want some possessions, then I do it, then it is called a Rajasic Yagna. Whereas Bhagavan says, what is Tamasic Yagna? He says, Yagnam Tamasam Parichakshate. These are called the Tamasic Yagna, which are done Vidihinam, which is not done according to the rituals which are described in the scriptures. Asrushtannam, Annam, without offering the food to the Brahmins, if it is done, because in Yagna, Brahmins have to be fed. Mantrahinam. Mantrahinam means which activities or actions are done without proper chanting of mantra. In Yagna Karma, the chanting of mantra is very, very important. Adakshinam, without giving adequate dakshina or gifts to Brahmins, which is done outside the Yagna Vedi, which is not offered in the Yagna fire of sacrifice. And Shraddha Virahitam, without faith in the scriptures, Guru and the Lord. And all these yagnas, according to Lord, are the Tamasik Yagna. And now Bhagavan talks about 3 types of tapa, by the 3 means that we have to, to live in this life. One is our body, Sharira. Second is our word, the speech, Vachika. And the third is the mana, mind, Manasika. So he talks about 3 types of tapa: Sharirik tapa, Vachik tapa, and Manasik tapa. First, he describes the Sharirik tapa in the 14th shloka. Shariram tapa uchyate. This is the austerities or penance by the body. Deva Dvija Guru Pragna Pujanam. So worshipping the Deva, gods. Dvija are the twice born, the Brahmins. Guru is our teacher. Pragna means wise. Pujanam, worshipping all this is called Sharirik tapa. It requires some kind of an austerity. Shaucham, because it is Sharirik tapa, we have to understand it is outer purity, which is called cleanliness in the surroundings, in our home, in our workplace, in our home, at our asana or our body, snana, shaucha, all this is called Shaucham. Arjavam is simplicity in our actions, whatever we think we do. So in all our actions, and it is all gently done with a kind of, gentleness. Brahmacharyam, having control over the physical pleasures, the sensual pleasures. So that's why it is called a Sharirik tapa. And ahimsa, practicing non-violence by way of bodily hurt, avoiding any bodily hurt. It is called a Sharirik tapa. In the 15th shloka, Bhagavan talks about the Vachik tapa. The verbal austerities, Vangmaya tapa iti uchyate. Une anudvega karam vakyam, words that do not hurt others, which are satyam, priyam, chahitam yata, are true, pleasant and beneficial. Swadhyaya abhyasanam cha eva, and regular study of scriptures is also, according to the Lord, it is also called a Vachik tapa. So let us understand words are like arrows. Once they, were spoken, then the damage is done. And we know how many times we have hurt people by our words. And that's why Bhagwan Bhashyakar also Shankaracharya ji gives a lot of importance to this shloka and describes in great details how words should be anudvegakaram, should not hurt others, it should be soothing to others, it should inspire, help others. And that's why we should think before we speak rather than repenting later. The words must be true, satyam, not twisted to make others happy, but we should present the truth in a way that it does not cause pain to others. They should be priyam. Priyam means they should be pleasant. Somebody should listen, be happy listening to these words. Truth is not always pleasant, and words are a very, very powerful way to cast a spell on people. That's why we have to learn the art of speaking not just the truth, but the truth in a pleasant way so that it does not hurt others. And these words should also be hitakari. Hitakari means beneficial, help in upliftment, inspiring or uplifting the others. And that is what it is called the Vangmaya Tapa. Finally, in the end, to summarize, Shankaracharya ji says that if only when all these four, Anudvegakaram, Satyam, Priyam and Hetam, all these four are present, then it is called a Vangmaya Tapa. Just one of it is present, it does not mean that this is Vangmaya Tapa. So speaking the truth, but making it hurting so that other person is hurt, that is not a Vangmaya Tapa. We have to make sure that we take care of all these four things. When we speak the truth, make sure that it is pleasant, it does not hurt others, and it is done to inspire or benefit the others. That is the kind of way we should talk about the truth. The third type of tapa, Bhagavan says, is the manasik tapa, or restraint of the mind. Tapa manasam iti uchyate, manah prasada. So the mind becoming always peaceful, always remaining cheerful, and saumyatvam, that manifests itself in our personality, which is also cheerful. Maunam, silence by our own choice, not by force. And this also suggests our control over our mind, because Bhagavan is talking about the manasik tapa here. Atma vinigraha, to having control over awareness over our thoughts, self-control over our mind, our senses. That is also an important part of our manasik tapa. And bhava sanshuddhi iti, having purity of our emotions, our feelings, bhava sanshuddhi. And essentially, Bhagavan is describing three types of tapa. And then is now going to describe all these three tapas can be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. Essentially, is describing 9 different types of tapa. So, manah prasada means having a cheerful mind. This is by our self-control. And to take care of our mind and intellect is a very important part, because we are what our mind is. That makes our personality. The mind is the master which controls our body. And that's why we must take care of our mind adequately. Mind is actually a wonderment. It's very unpredictable. It is more like waves in an ocean. And everybody wants always to be happy, cheerful, peaceful at mind. Nobody wants to have a disturbed mind. And that's why it is very important that we control or balance our mind by our own self-efforts. Though it is not a very easy task, it requires a lot of thought, we need to understand the scriptures from a learned guru, and then it requires a lot of self-observation for us to improve and inculcate or assimilate this understanding in our life to make our life better. Some of the attitudes that Guruji describes to have a peace of mind is an inside-out approach. Try to change myself, not others. Having an attitude of gratitude for whatever we have been given. Avoid complaining, understanding that I never complained when I had so much of, sukha, happiness. I never complained. Now with the dukkha, why should I complain? Because sukha and dukkha, they both are pairs, they go together. Having a positive and creative attitude to bring out the best in whichever situation I am. Understanding that there is a light at the end of the tunnel always, and that when one door opens, the other door, when one door closes, the other door always opens. Surrender to the immense supernatural power that is there, which will bring a kind of acceptance of what is, whatever is the result of the fruit of action, whatever is the result that I receive for whatever I have done, I must accept it as a prasada buddhi, share it with others, and then utilize that. Be witness to a grand drama of this life as a spectator, rather than getting attached to the role that I am playing, and learning to live in the present moment, not get attached to the past always thinking about the dukkha that I had in the past and then hurting ourselves again and again, and not living in the anxieties, having the anxieties or the tensions or the stress of the future. What will happen if I do this? What will happen if I do this? So this is never going to give us a peace of mind. That's why these are some of the attitudes that Guruji shows us to having a peace of our mind all the time. Sattvic tapa. Bhagavan then describes the sattvic tapa when all these three finances, the vachik, the sharirik and the vangmaya or the manasik tapa, are done with shraddhaya paraya, utmost faith in whatever we are doing, and apala kankshi bihi, without any desire for action. These are the two conditions Bhagavan shows that these tapa becomes a sattvic tapa. Similarly, if these are done for the expectation of praise, satkara, mana, pujartham, respect and reverence, puja, somebody is going to worship me for if I do this kind of good thing, and dambhena iva chakriyate, if it is done with hypocrisy, then the results are chalam, unsteady, and adruvam. They are not long lasting, they are very temporary, very anitya, and this is called the rajasic tapa. The next shloka Bhagavan describes the tamasic tapa. This is the tamasic tapa which is done mudagrahena, done with delusion, mudata, moha, unawareness. Yat pidaya kriyate tapa, tapa which causes pain to the body, which is like a ghor tapa, or parasya utsadanam, artham va, which gives pain, miseries or destruction to others. Like we want, when we compete with others, we want to destroy the others, we want to inflict some pain or losses on the other organization. This kind of competitive spirit where we want to make sure that others are hurt or disturbed is called a tamasic tapa. Now Bhagavan describes the dana, all the three types of donations or charity. Starts with first with sattvic dana. He says datavyam iti yad danam, which is done as my duty, that I must do it. This is my kartavya. My shastra is telling me that part of it I must share with others, of my wealth, of my possessions. If it is done with this attitude, then it is a sattvic dana. Diyate anupakarine, means when it is done without any expectation in return, not for any other benefit. Upkara, bhavana is not there. There is no benefit which is in my mind by doing this donation, but only as my kartavya karma I am doing it. Desha kalecha patrecha, done with an appropriate place. Some of the Tirtha Dhama, pilgrimage places, are considered to be holy places for giving donations. At the right time, some of the Tithis, Agyarasa, Shraddha, Tarpana, all these are considered to be good times for giving donations, and which is done to Patre. Patra means the person to whom the donation is done must be deserving, he must be needy, he must be in need of that thing which we are giving that person. And our Shastras teach us how to do Sattvic Dana. But Guruji tells us, even if we don't do Sattvic Dana, at least we should start with the Rajasic Dana and then go to Sattvic Dana. Bhagavan describes here what is Rajasic Dana. Yattu pratyupakaram artham, one which is done with an expectation of some kind of a return. Today I am going to do this donation, tomorrow I am going to get this benefit from this organization or this person. That is called, or income tax benefits in form of ATG exemptions. All this is considered to be, if the donations are done with this bhavana, with this attitude, then it is called a Rajasic Dana. Phalam uddeshya vapunah, keeping in mind the results of this again and again. And diyate cha pariklishtam, which is done with hesitation or with agitation of our mind, not done with the peace or conviction that this is for the others' benefit. But if it is done Kachwata mane, means done with a lot of hesitation whether I should do it or I should not do it. Because others are doing it, I should do it. This is a kind of a Rajasic donation. And what is a Tamas Dana? Adesha Kaleyat Dana, which is given at an inappropriate time, apatre, and to undeserving persons. Asatkrutam, which is done without respect, and avagnatam, which is done with disrespecting the other person. Avagna karke unki matlab disrespecting or ignoring that other person. Then that type of donation, Bhagavan says, is tamasic dana. So now from the 23rd shloka, Bhagavan changes the subject and he talks about the three names of the eternal Brahman, the eternal divinity. Om Tat Sat. Says Om Tat Sat iti nirdeshaha Brahmana Vividha Smutaha. Om Tat Sat are the three names of the eternal Brahman. Brahma is the eternal Nirguna Nirakar Brahma. And he says, Tena Pura, from this Pura. Pura means at the time of the creation of the universe, Brahmanaha, Vedaha, Cha Yagnaha, Cha Vihitaha. Brahmins, Vedas, and all the yagnas were created. We know that from this Brahma, Nirgun Brahma, the Saguna Brahma, along with the Maya, was created, and from this, all the Panch Mahabhuta, all this Sukshma Jagata and the Sthula Jagata was created. And all these Brahmins, Vedas, and yagnas are all part of the Sthula Jagata. They were all created from this Nirguna Brahma. That is what Bhagavan is talking about. And the purpose of changing this course and the reason for talking about these three names of Brahma is Bhagavan is going to say that chanting of these names of the Lord while doing any of these actions makes these actions pure and complete. Because when we do any of these actions, either it is Yagna Karma or Dana Karma or Tapa Karma or Ahara, sometimes some of the impurities does come into this. Some of the doshas, some of the vices do definitely come into it. It is not complete because karma by its own nature cannot be a perfect, because Bhagavan has already said Gahana Karmano Gatihi. It is very detailed, it is very difficult for us to understand, and that's why some of the dosha, some ashuddhi, some impurities are part to be there. When we chant the name of the Lord while we do any of the karmas, then it makes it pure and complete. So Bhagavan is first talking when Omkara is used, then he'll talk when Sat and when Tat, when Sat is used. When Omkara, he says Tasmat Om iti udahyutya. Therefore, by chanting Om, when Yagna Dana Tapah Kriyaha, Yagna, charity, penance, all these actions are performed according to the rituals, Vidhanokta. Vidhi means according to the rituals described in the scriptures, Satatam Brahmavadinam Pravartante. Brahmavadi means people who are committed to the Brahma, those who are God-loving, those who are on this path. They will start all their actions by chanting Om, and this is how they will purify their actions. This is how they will make their actions complete. And so Om essentially is a one-word Ekakshari Naam of the Lord. It denotes the entire Saguna and the formless Nirguna, all the forms and the formless existence of the Lord. All the Swarupa of the Lord is all, can be described by just one word, Om. And the three letters or the three matras which are there in the Om indicate the three states: the Jagrata, the awake state, the Swapna, the dream state, and the Sushupti, the deep sleep state. It also indicates the three bodies, U and Ma respectively, indicates the Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira, and the Karana Sharira, and the parts, entire universe. And the silence that emanates after this chanting of the Om, which is called Amatra, it indicates a formless existence of the Nirgun Nirakar Brahma. The saints and the wise people, the sadhus and all these, they extensively use the term chant Om, and it means for them, it means acceptance of what is. Whatever you give them, they'll say Om. So that means they accept anything, and it means it is all delivered to the Lord. So that is how they use this chanting of the word Om. In the next shloka, Bhagavan talks about where Tat word is utilized. He says Tat iti anabhisandhaya phalam. By connecting to the Lord, by doing smarana of the Lord, by speaking Tat or chanting Tat, it indicates no expectation of the result. Essentially, it means doing work like Karma Yoga Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, Yagna, Tapah Kriya, Dana Kriya, Vividaha, all these different types of actions, Yagna, Tapa, Dana, and all the various actions, it are done for the purpose of Moksha Kangshibihi, for the benefit or for the desire to achieve liberation from this Sansara Jagata, from this endless cycle of birth and death. And that is only possible by Atmagnana. So for Moksha Ichha, whatever work is done, Yagna, Tapa, Dana, Kriya, all this done by chanting of the Tat, then this becomes more for Moksha Kangshipihi. So even in the Mahavakya, Tat, Tvam and Asi, the Tat word stands for Paramatma, the Tvam stands for the Jiva, and Asi stands for the oneness, the Aikya, the Abheda Gnana, the oneness which we have to understand. This is the Upanishad Mahavakya. There are 4 such Mahavakyas which describe the main summary of the Tatparya Updesha of all the Upanishads. that everything is one, everything comes from one and merges with the one, and everything is one. In the 26th shloka, Bhagavan tells Arjuna where Sat is used, when it is chanted, what is it used for. He says Sat Bhave. Sat Bhave. Sat Bhave means, Sat Bhav means the Bhava or the existence of all. Everything is due to the Sat. And Sat is also one of the words how the Nirgun Brahma is indicated by Sat, Chit and Ananda. So Sat here means, Sat Tattva means the Bhava or the existence, the easiness. When we say this object is present, this person is present, that isness, the existence, the that bhava is described by the Sat. Sadhu bhavecha. Sadhu bhava means sadhu are all involved with sat karma. They do good, selfless actions, kind intentions. They do betterment for the society at large. Prashaste karmani. They are always involved in noble, selfless actions which are without any reason, and they are all auspicious actions, manglik karma. And this sat iti uchyate. This is where sat is used always. So whenever we help, inspire others, we do some sat karma, we do sat vichara, we be compassionate with others, then we feel good because we are connected with the divine, and this is what we need to understand. And the final two shlokas, Bhagavan talks about how all these yagna, tapa, dana, karma, when they can be called sat and when they can be called asat. So in the 27th shloka, he says, all these yagna, tapa, dana, karma, when these are done with sat iti abhidhiyate, they are called sat. When karmacha eva tat arthiyam. Tat arthiyam means they are done for the tat padartha, they are done for the Almighty, for the divinity, for achieving oneness, and not for the worldly affairs, not for the vishaya. Then sat iti cha uchyache, then it is known as a sat. Everything becomes sat, and it becomes sattvic. So when a person is filled with sat, is more sattvic, and that is the way to connect to the divine. That is the purpose of describing all these three different types of sattvic, rajasic and tamasic, so that from all this karma, tamasic and rajasic, we come from tamasic to rajasic, and from rajasic we have to try and get into the sattvic karma, so that from there, once we are pure, antakaran shuddhi, then we can become connected with the one divine source from which everything emanates. And in the final shloka, the 28th shloka, asat iti uchyate partha. Oh Arjun, these actions are called asat. And all these actions like hutam means putting obeisance in the fire of it's basically yagna karma, giving ahuti. Dattam means donations. Tapa means finance or austerities. All these karmas are done ashraddhaya. If they are done without faith, no iha, not in this world, nacha tat pretya, not after the death, we don't get any special fruits or no results. We get no better karma phala, no vishesh phala is given if any of these karmas are done without faith. But one ends this adhyaya saying that all these karmas should be done with our faith in the Almighty, tatarthiyam, with the faith in the Lord. But if it is done without faith, then they don't give us any fruit, any special fruit. And that's how Bhagavan ends this adhyaya with the faith. He says, without faith, this karma should not be done. Faith is the foundation. The purpose of the tatparya of the Lord is to tell us that he started the adhyaya with the faith, Trivida, three different types of faith. Arjuna's question was also related to the faith, and the upasamhara ending is also with the faith, that we should do all our actions with the faith in the Almighty, in the divine. So we commonly use this phrase, faith moves mountains. Shraddha is very important part of life. Whenever a doctor goes to a patient also, there is a connection or a relationship between the faith. And in all our life, husband, wife, the trust of the faith makes a very, very, between the children, between the parents also, this faith or trust, it becomes a very important. In the Vedic life also, all these yagna, tapa, karma, dana, where faith is very important. If we have any ashraddha towards a guru, shastra or the God, then this is a very big obstacle on our path. It is a dosha which we have to remove, because many of these subjects that are described in the Vedas, like karma, karma phala, how this is done, our onward journey, gati of the jiva, Ishvara, who is Ishvara, what is dharma, what is adharma, what is Brahma. All these topics are something that we cannot fathom with our human intelligence, and that's why Vedas and our Shastra are the only evidence for us to understand this Pramanam. That is what Bhagavan has already told us in the 16th Adhyaya, and that's why we need to have faith. Seekers should nurture faith. But the unique combination here in this Vedanta is that not just only faith is important, but our intellect, our vivek, our vichar is also given that much importance. So both these things are important. And Bhagavan talks about the three types of faith, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, in all the different types of activities, actions that we do day in and out, like food, consuming food, ahara, what is sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic ahara, what are yagna, tapa, and dana. All these are described in the three types, the rajasic, tamasic, and sattvic. So what is the kind of faith that we need? What makes it sattvic? To understand that there is a very just system in this universe. It is always do good for me. It will never do any harm to anyone. And whatever I have done, whatever results I am getting is because of my karma, because of my actions that I have done in the past, or maybe not in this life, but in the previous life. And we must have the faith in the Lord that when one door closes in our life, another one opens. And this is part of our experience also. Whenever something has not been done according to our liking, then it has always led us to a betterment in our life later on. We realize later on. And this is whatever happens is for my own good. I can't see it right now, but definitely in the future it will do good to me. I do not have control over the results of the action. Bhagavan has already said, you do your karma, you leave the karma fal to me. I will be giving you the best according to whatever you have done your karma. And for that, we need to surrender to the Almighty, acceptance of all the results that He is going to give us for all our karmas. And that is the kind of faith we need to have. So to summarize, the 17th Adhyaya starts with Arjuna's question that somebody who doesn't know the scriptures, what is this kind of faith? What is this kind of commitment? And Bhagavan, in response to his question, answers that there are three types of faith that you should know: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, and says that the faith is very important in human life. It forms the foundation, Shraddhamaya Ayam Purusha. It comes from the Sattvika, Sattvanurupa. It comes from the Antakarana, the mind. And how these three faiths are manifested in our life, it depends on where we are devoted, committed to. Sattvic people to the Devas, Rajasic to the Asuras, and the Tamasic to the Pret and the Bhuta. And then Bhagavan in the two shlokas describes the Ghor Tapa, which should be deprecated because it causes Karshayanta Sharirastam, where I am sitting inside as Antaryami. And that's why he says the Sattvic karma must be done in the Sattvic. It should be a middle path, not to the extremes. And then in the next three shlokas describes the three types of Sattvic, Rajasic, and the Tamasic ahara. In the next three shlokas describes the three types of Yagna. And the next three shlokas it describes the three types of Tapa, the Sharirik, Vachik, and Mansik Tapa. And says that Mana Prasada is very important. It's a Mansik Tapa at any cost to have or to maintain our peace of mind, giving it the highest priority is a very important part. Only that can come only by self-control. And then in the next three shlokas, it describes the three types of tapa, the sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic tapa. The next three shlokas, it describes the three types of dana, the sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic dana. And in the 23rd shloka, it describes the three names of the Lord, Bhagavana, Om, Tat, and Sat. The next three shlokas, it describes where all these are used. The Om is chanted, Tat and the Sat are used. And finally, in the last two shlokas, he describes how all these activities, actions, karma, yagna, tapa, dana, are Sat. And finally, when it is Tadarthiyam, which is done for the Almighty, and when they are Asat, when they are done without Shraddha, without faith, then they are all Asat. With this, we come to the end of the 17th Adhyaya. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Saptadashodhyayaha Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami Ma Shuchaha. Om Guru ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परः ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।